Not Wanted by Anton Chekhov. Between 6 and 7 o'clock on a July evening, a crowd of summer visitors, mostly fathers of families, burdened with parcels, portfolios, and ladies' hat boxes, was trailing along from the little station of Helkovo in the direction of the summer villas. They all looked exhausted, hungry, and ill-humored, as though the sun were not shining and the grass were not green for them. Trudging along among the others was Pavel Matveyevich Zaykin, a member of the circuit court, a tall, stooping man in a cheap cotton dust coat with a cockade on his faded cap. He was perspiring, red in the face, and gloomy. "Do you come out to your holiday home every day?" said a summer visitor, in ginger-colored trousers, addressing him. "No, not every day," Zaykin answered sullenly. "My wife and son are staying here all the while, and I come down 2 or 3 times a week. I haven't time to come every day. Besides, it is expensive." "You're right there. It is expensive," sighed he of the ginger trousers. "In town, you can't walk to the station. You have to take a cab, and then the ticket costs 42 kopecks. You buy a paper for the journey. One is tempted to drink a glass of vodka. It's all petty expenditure, not worth considering, but, mind you, in the course of the summer, it will run up to some 200 rubles. Of course, to be in the lap of nature is worth any money. I don't dispute it. Idyllic and all the rest of it, but of course, with the salary an official gets, as you know yourself, every farthing has to be considered. If you waste a halfpenny, you lie awake all night. Yes, I receive, my dear sir, I haven't the honor of knowing your name, I receive a salary of very nearly 2,000 rubles a year. I am a civil councillor, I smoke second-rate tobacco, and I haven't a ruble to spare to buy Vichy water, prescribed me by the doctor for gallstones." "It's altogether abominable," said Zaykin after a brief silence. "I maintain, sir, that summer holidays are the invention of the devil and of woman. The devil was actuated in the present instance by malice, woman by excessive frivolity. Mercy on us, it is not life at all. It is hard labor, it is hell. It's hot and stifling. You can hardly breathe, and you wander about like a lost soul and can find no refuge. In town there is no furniture, no servants. Everything has been carried off to the villa. You eat what you can get. You go without your tea because there is no one to heat the samovar. You can't wash yourself, and when you come down here into this lap of nature, you have to walk, if you please, through the dust and heat. Phew! Are you married?" "Yes, 3 children," sighs Ginger Trousers. "It's abominable altogether. It's a wonder we are still alive." At last the summer visitors reached their destination. Zaykin said goodbye to Ginger Trousers and went into his villa. He found a death-like silence in the house. He could hear nothing but the buzzing of the gnats and the prayer for help of a fly destined for the dinner of a spider. The windows were hung with muslin curtains, through which the faded flowers of the geraniums showed red. On the unpainted wooden walls near the oleographs, flies were slumbering. There was not a soul in the passage, the kitchen, or the dining room. In the room which was called indifferently the parlor or the drawing room, Zaykin found his son Petya, a little boy of 6. Petya was sitting at the table, and breathing loudly with his lower lip stuck out, was engaged in cutting out the figure of a knave of diamonds from a card. "Oh, that's you, father," he said without turning round. "Good evening." "Good evening. And where is mother?" "Mother? She has gone with Olga Kirillovna to a rehearsal of the play. The day after tomorrow they will have a performance, and they'll take me too. And will you go?" When is she coming back?" "She said she would be back in the evening." "And where is Natalia?" "Mamma took Natalia with her to help her dress for the performance, and Akulina has gone to the wood to get mushrooms. Father, why is it that when gnats bite you, their stomachs get red?" "I don't know. Because they suck blood. So there is no one in the house then?" "No one. I am all alone in the house." Zaykin sat down in an easy chair, and for a moment gazed blankly at the window. "Who is going to get our dinner?" he asked. "They haven't cooked any dinner today, father. Mamma thought you were not coming today, and did not order any dinner. She is going to have dinner with Olga Kirillovna at the rehearsal." "Oh, thank you very much. And you, what have you to eat?" "I've had some milk. They bought me 6 kopecks worth of milk. And, Father, why do gnats suck blood? Zykin suddenly felt as though something heavy were rolling down his liver and beginning to gnaw it. He felt so vexed, so aggrieved, and so bitter that he was choking and tremulous. He wanted to jump up, to bang something on the floor, and to burst into loud abuse. But then he remembered that his doctor had absolutely forbidden him all excitement, so he got up, and making an effort to control himself, began whistling a tune from Les Huguenots. "Father, can you act in plays?" he heard Petya's voice. "Oh, don't worry me with stupid questions," said Zykin, getting angry. "He sticks to one like a leaf in a bath. Here you are, 6 years old, and just as silly as you were 3 years ago. Stupid, neglected child. Why are you spoiling those cards, for instance? How dare you spoil them?" "These cards aren't yours," said Petya, turning around. "Natalia gave them me." "You are telling fibs. You are telling fibs, you horrid boy," said Zykin, growing more and more irritated. "You are always telling fibs. You want a whipping, you horrid little pig. I will pull your ears." Petya leapt up, and craning his neck, stared fixedly at his father's red and wrathful face. His big eyes first began blinking, then were dimmed with moisture, and the boy's face began working. "But why are you scolding?" squealed Petya. "Why do you attack me, you stupid? I am not interfering with anybody. I am not naughty. I do what I'm told, and yet you are cross. Why are you scolding me?" The boy spoke with conviction, and wept so bitterly that Zykin felt conscience-stricken. "Yes, really, why am I falling foul of him?" he thought. "Come, come," he said, touching the boy on the shoulder. "I am sorry, Petya. Forgive me. You are my good boy, my nice boy. I love you." Petya wiped his eyes with his sleeve, sat down with a sigh, in the same place, and began cutting out the queen. Zykin went off to his own room. He stretched himself on the sofa, and putting his hands behind his head, sank into thought. The boy's tears had softened his anger, and by degrees the oppression on his liver grew less. He felt nothing but exhaustion and hunger. "Father," he heard on the other side of the door. "Shall I show you my collection of insects?" "Yes, show me." Petya came into the study and handed his father a long green box. Before raising it to his ear, Zykin could hear a despairing buzz and the scratching of claws on the sides of the box. Opening the lid, he saw a number of butterflies, beetles, grasshoppers, and flies fastened to the bottom of the box with pins. All except 2 or 3 butterflies were still alive and moving. "Why, the grasshopper is still alive," said Petya in surprise. "I caught him yesterday morning, and he is still alive." "Who taught you to pin them in this way?" "Olga Kirillovna." "Olga Kirillovna ought to be pinned down like that herself," said Zykin with repulsion. "Take them away. It is shameful to torture animals." "My God, how horribly he is being brought up," he thought as Petya went out. Pavel Matveyitch forgot his exhaustion and hunger, and thought of nothing but his boy's future. Meanwhile, outside the light was gradually fading. He could hear the summer visitors trooping back from the evening bathe. Someone was stopping near the open dining room window and shouting, "Do you want any mushrooms?" and getting no answer, shuffled on with bare feet. But at last, when the dusk was so thick that the outlines of the geraniums behind the muslin curtain were lost, and whiffs of the freshness of evening were coming in at the window, the door of the passage was thrown open noisily, and there came a sound of rapid footsteps, talk, and laughter. "Mama!" shrieked Petya. Zykin peeped out of his study and saw his wife, Nadyezhda Stepanova, healthy and rosy as ever. With her he saw Olga Kirillovna, a spare woman with fair hair and heavy freckles, and 2 unknown men, one a lanky young man with curly red hair and a big Adam's apple, the other a short, stubby man with a shaven face like an actor's and a bluish, crooked chin. "Natalia, set the samovar!" cried Nadyezhda Stepanova, with a loud rustle of her skirts. "I hear Pavel Matveyitch is come. Pavel, where are you?" "Good evening, Pavel," she said, running into the study breathlessly. "So you've come. I am so glad. 2 of our amateurs have come with me. Come, I'll introduce you. Here, the taller one is Koromizlov. He recites magnificently. Oh, how tired I am. We have just had a rehearsal. It goes splendidly. We are acting The Lodger with the Trombone and Waiting for Him. The performance is the day after tomorrow." "Why did you bring them?" asked Zykin. "I couldn't help it, Poppet. After tea we must rehearse our parts and sing something. I am to sing a duet with Koromizlov. Oh yes, I was almost forgetting. Darling, send Natalia to get some sardines, vodka, cheese, and something else. They will most likely stay to supper. Oh, how tired I am. I've no money. You must pop it. It would be awkward. Don't make me blush. Half an hour later, Natalia was sent for vodka and savories. Zaikin, after drinking tea and eating a whole French loaf, went to his bedroom and lay down on the bed, while Nadezhda Stepanova and her visitors, with much noise and laughter, set to work to rehearse their parts. For a long time, Pavel Matveyevich heard Koromizlov's nasal reciting and Smerkalov's theatrical exclamation. The rehearsal was followed by a long conversation, interrupted by the shrill laughter of Olga Kirillovna. Smerkalov, as a real actor, explained the parts with aplomb and heat. Then, following the duet, and after the duet, there was the clatter of crockery. Through his drowsiness, Zaikin heard them persuading Smerkalov to read The Woman Who Was a Sinner, and heard him, after affecting to refuse, begin to recite. He hissed, beat himself on the breast, wept, laughed in a husky bass. Zaikin scowled and hid his head under the quilt. It's a long way for you to go, and it's dark, he heard Nadezhda Stepanova's voice an hour later. Why don't you stay the night here? Koromizlov can sleep here in the drawing room on the sofa, and you, Smerkalov, in Petya's bed. I can put Petya in my husband's study. Do stay, really. At last, when the clock was striking 2, all was hushed. The bedroom door opened, and Nadezhda Stepanova appeared. Pavel, are you asleep? She whispered. No. Why? Go into your study, darling, and lie on the sofa. I am going to put Olga Kirillovna here in your bed. Do go, dear. I would put her to sleep in the study, but she is afraid to sleep alone. Do get up. Zaikin got up, threw on his dressing gown, and, taking his pillow, crept wearily to the study. Feeling his way to the sofa, he lighted a match and saw Petya lying on the sofa. The boy was not asleep, and, looking at the match with wide-open eyes, Father, why is it gnats don't go to sleep at night? He asked. Because you and I are not wanted. We have nowhere to sleep even. Father, and why is it Olga Kirillovna has freckles on her face? Oh, shut up. I am tired of you. After a moment's thought, Zaikin dressed and went out into the street for a breath of air. He looked at the grey morning sky, at the motionless clouds, heard the lazy call of the drowsy corncrake, and began dreaming of the next day, when he would go to town, and coming back from the court, would tumble into bed. Suddenly, the figure of a man appeared round the corner. A watchman, no doubt, thought Zaikin. But going nearer and looking more closely, he recognized in the figure the summer visitor in the ginger trousers. You're not asleep? He asked. No, I can't sleep, sighed Ginger Trousers. I am enjoying nature. A welcome visitor, my wife's mother, arrived by the night train, you know. She brought with her our nieces. Splendid girls. I was delighted to see them, although it's very damp. And you, too, are enjoying nature? Yes, grunted Zaikin. I am enjoying it, too. Do you know whether there is any sort of tavern or restaurant in the neighborhood? Ginger Trousers raised his eyes to heaven and meditated profoundly.